Hello everyone, my name is Ipatov and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to talk about how to create an outside pass pawn in a opponent game. I'm going to play out this position against a training bot on chess.com, but before I play my first move, let's try to evaluate the position. So both white and black have 5 pawns each, so the material is equal. However, white has a clear advantage because white has a very explicit plan, which is to create an outside pass pawn on the queen side. We, as white, have 2 pawns on the queen side, which is a3 and b3, and black has only 1 pawn, which is a b5 pawn. So our plan is to create the outside pass pawn by playing a4, and then the next stage of our plan is to distract the opponent's king from the king side, where he can protect his pawns, and meanwhile the black king is trying to eliminate our pawn. We will try to invade on the king side and eliminate all of the black pawns. So the first stage is to create the outside pass pawn with a4. The second stage is to distract the opponent's king from the kingside pawns, and the stage number 3 is to invade with our king and win all of the black pawns there. So let's try. I think we can play a4, which is the first stage. So a4, b takes a4, b takes a4, and now we can see that the black king can no longer stay on the king side because it needs to take care of our pass pawn. So king d7, the black king is going towards our a pawn. Okay, I will do the same, king d3. Please remember that in the endgame, king becomes a fully active piece, unlike in the opening or in the middle game when we try to bring our king to a safe position, make castle, and so on. In the endgame, the king is a fully fighting piece, which means we can bring it to the center and attack the opponent's pieces or pawns. So king c6, king c4. Both kings are in the center. So right now we're at the second stage of our plan, which is about to be completed because we've managed to distract the opponent's king from the kingside pawns. Now the black's kingside looks vulnerable. So now we're going onto the final stage of our plan, which is to invade into the king side with our king. For this we're going to sacrifice our a pawn, but in return we're going to win 2, 3, or maybe all of the black pawns on the king side. So I think we can play a5 check. Okay, black has 2 moves, king a6 or king c6. So king c6, yes. I think we can play king c4. I'm looking black to give up the squares b5 or c5 so that I could improve my king's position further. g6. So as we see, black does not want to play with king anymore, because if he does, then we can play king b5 or king c5. So the question is now whether to sacrifice our a pawn immediately or first try to improve the pawn structure on the king side. This is a good question. For some reason I like move f4. My idea is to fix the pawn structure on the king side so that when I come with my king, I would know where exactly to go and which pawn to pick up. So king d6. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking about king b5 or a6 first. I think king b5 looks natural. King c7. Well, now king c5. White is gradually winning space with his king, so now we just need to play king d6 and all the black pawns will fall. So this is exactly what's happening. King b7, king d6. Now the black king will go after our a pawn. Meanwhile, I will try to win all the black pawns on the king side. Okay, f5. It's completely winning now for white. My plan is to play king f7, king g7, and king takes h7. After which I will eliminate the g6 and f5 pawns as well. So, as we see, black still tries to eliminate our a pawn, while we've already succeeded on the king side. So king f7. King g7. The material is equal on the board, but the major difference is in the king's position. Our king is attacking the opponent's pawns on the king side. It's already there on g7. Meanwhile, the black king is on a5, which requires, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 tempes, to come back to the king side. So king takes g6, and now white is winning. First, maybe I'll take the f5 pawn, maybe h5 pawn, I don't know. Okay, let's say king f5. So I propose to stop here. This position is easily winning for white. And so let's try to go back and try to analyze what has happened. So in this position, despite of the material balance, the position was winning for white. Why? Because white had a possibility to create an outside pass pawn on the queen side. So we did this with move a4. So this was the first stage of our plan, to create the outside pass pawn. And the second stage of our plan was to distract the opponent's king from the king side, so that it would take care of our a pawn. And this stage number 3 was to invade with our king into the black's king side and eliminate all of his pawns there. So this is exactly what happened. a4, b takes a4. Also, I would like to pay your attention to quite an important principle in the endgame, which is a king centralization. So gradually white won space with the king and finally invaded to d6 and won all of the black pawns on the king side. So this example explicitly shows the strength of an outside pass pawn in a pawn endgame, and maybe in some other endgames as well. Thank you for watching. It was Ipatov, and I'll see you in the next videos.